Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I think I have been worn out from this week because I have been dragging today. I've been slowly piecing a video together today. It's actually going to be a good video, so it was worth the time it took. But I think sometimes by Friday I'm just a little tired and worn out. So today I'm just getting this video to you. I'm going to pause this for 1 second. Okay, well that was a great start. I told both of my sons that I was about to start a video and to not be loud. The second I start the video, one of them's knocking on the door and I had to go deal with that. So here we go. All right, Mr. B had sent me this. He had done a video. And by the way, if you can find him, it's Mr. B XRP. You need to subscribe to him on YouTube. Also, you can follow him on Twitter at XRP Mister. But he had shown me where someone had replied to his video on Twitter and put this clip of Donald Trump. Possibility on how XRP is introduced Tuesday. Listen to what Donald Trump says and what they're talking about. All of a sudden, the Trump administration, there's peace deals being worked out between Israel and all these Middle East countries. And this is significant. You better believe it. Listen to what he says.
In the spirit of peace and cooperation, both leaders...
Well, if I can get the earphones to work. Hold on.
In the spirit of peace and cooperation, both leaders...
Let's pause that for 1 second. Well, that is 2 misfires so far in trying to start my video. So here we go. The third time's a charm, right? Listen to this.
In the spirit of peace and cooperation, both leaders also agreed that Bahrain will fully normalize its diplomatic relations with Israel. They will exchange embassies and ambassadors, begin direct flights between their countries, and launch cooperation initiatives across a broad range of sectors, including health, business, technology, education, security, and agriculture. This is a truly historic day. There had been 2 peace agreements with Israel in the last 72 years. This is now the 2nd peace agreement that we've announced in the last month, and I am very hopeful that there will be more to follow. I can tell you there's tremendous enthusiasm on behalf of other countries to also join.
All right. So you got that. Now, so we've been seeing for the last 2 or 3 weeks all these peace deals being done. This is from September 7th when Trump posted this. Together, we will show the world that forces of destruction and extremism are no match for the blessings and of prosperity and peace. Now, remember, folks, the U.S. is not and has not been involved in the Middle East out of the kindness of its heart. It's about oil. It's about the money. It's about all the money. And it's about the U.S. dollar's status as the world reserve currency and their deal with the Middle East countries for the PetroDollar. It's always been about that. It's about that now. But it's also about digital assets. Now, look at some of these pictures that he has tweeted out. These are from the meetings they were having. Just look at some of the cast of characters. I think I blew one of these up. I blew this one up. Look right here. That is Rex Tillerson. I think he's the guy that ran Exxon. Now, this is an older picture, but I want to draw your attention. There's Jared Kushner. And who is that? That would be Gary Cohn. Now, that's the same... First, let's look at Jared Kushner. We've talked about him. Ripple's board member assisted President Trump. Ken Kurson is Jared Kushner's buddy. We've gone over that before. But if you look right here, he's on Ripple's board. But look here, he also wrote speeches for Donald Trump. Ken Kurson did. Okay, and that is Jared Kushner's buddy. All right, and then you got Gary Cohn right here. Gary Cohn was the guy that's sitting right here in this video, where Glenn Hutchins of the Digital Currency Group and the New York Federal Reserve Board was talking about Ripple's protocol.
Next thing is going to be value. And the question is, how can we use the internet to move anything of value at the speed of light at no cost, the way we've done all those other things that we've done? And to do that, we have to have a regulatory framework, Gary's suggesting, that can keep up with that rather than try to fit that. So they now pay, but even without fundamental technological innovation, the cost of payments in China is about 30 to 40% of what it is in the United States.
Yeah, look, the message I'm receiving from you.
Okay, I didn't want to play that whole video, but I just wanted to make the point. Digital Currency Group, who is also New York Federal Reserve, right? Also, he's on the board at the Digital Currency Group, which is a part owner in Ripple and in Coinbase. Remember, Brian Brooks of the OCC went to Coinbase. He's Steve Mnuchin's buddy. Then he goes to from Coinbase to the OCC, right? To replace one of his Mnuchin's other buddies, the Ottering guy, who was also at One West Bank with Steve Mnuchin. Now, if you look, let's go back. So Gary Cohen is right here. He looks kind of bored. I'm sure this has all already been, these meetings are probably pretty boring, but this, I'm here to tell you, is all about the freaking petrodollar. How many times, all we're hearing now is, right now, is we're hearing about gold and crypto, and we're hearing about people all these countries questioning the U.S.'s status as the global reserve currency and all of this. This is what I believe that the U.S. has been planning for a long time. And I believe that I believe it also involves XRP as a bridge, a world bridge currency, like not the world reserve currency, but a world bridge currency. I think XLM might be in on that game too. Okay. But I want to show you, for those of you that don't know, and I think I've shown this before, but it's worth you watching again so that you understand what's on the line. See, we're supposed to believe that the U.S. is behind China, and we've just fallen behind and all of this stuff. Well, there's too much on the line, because the U.S. status as the world reserve currency means everything to the United States. So that doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense under the sun. And when you watch this petrodollar video, it will bring all of this together in your mind. Now, if for some reason I have to clip this video out of this video for copyright reasons, go to Safaraz Ali. That's who put this up. But it could try to copyright me. And so if it does, I'll just remove the video. And just go to YouTube and type in the petrodollar system and the U.S.-Saudi relations, an informative video. Okay.
The petrodollar is actually a device invented by Kissinger and Nixon.
The standard of living of all Americans can be traced back to here, the vast oil-rich deserts of Saudi Arabia.
By the way, look up here in the right. Everybody remembers the Cold War with Russia. They're calling this the Colder War. We have even seen Ripple refer to this as a China Cold War. I think they've called it like a Cold War between China and the U.S. with I think they referred to it as something having to do Cold War. We don't want to have a new Cold War or something to that effect about digital currencies having to do with China. And I'm telling you, this is it. It's the petrodollar. That's what I think XRP has been about all along, is to be like a bridge, to kind of be like the way I look at it is like I would call it the Great Compromise. The U.S. knows they can't keep their status as the U.S. As the world reserve currency. So all central banks around the world create their own digital currencies. Those currencies are backed by gold. XRP and maybe a handful of others act as a bridge between all of those gold-backed digital currencies. That's what makes sense to me. That's what I think it's all about, the petrodollar.
In the early 70s, after the Arab crisis happened with the oil embargoes, OPEC basically tripled the price of oil to the Western world. And at that time, America realized that they were vulnerable because they were importing about 70% of all the oil they consumed.
To secure a reliable foreign source of oil, U.S. President Richard Nixon sent his Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger to Saudi Arabia for a secret meeting. The result was a pact that still stands to this day.
If Saudi Arabia, which at the time was the world's largest producer of oil, would sell the oil in US dollars, America would defend Saudi Arabia and make sure the House Assad would stay in power.
As a direct result of this U.S.-Saudi agreement, all other oil-producing nations also adopted the dollar as the de facto medium of exchange. Demand for it increased exponentially all over the world, and soon it had a new name, the PetroDollar.
Your currency is only as strong as the demand for it, just like anything else, the supply and demand. Why the petrodollar is important, it causes a demand for the US dollar.
Exactly.
A lot of Americans don't realize that over 70% of all the $100 bills in the world are actually outside of the US. There's more $100 bills in Russia than there are in America.
This stockpile of US dollars in countries around the world is because oil is bought and sold using the greenback.
If oil starts trading in non-petrodollars, such as gold or a basket of currencies, or if China and Russia start trading in yuan and ruble rather than US dollars, that demand isn't there. And the way of life for the average American will be done. It will be worse than the Great Depression.
That is the reason.
To date, anyone who's potentially threatened the status of the petrodollar hasn't fared well. Libyan strongman Muammar Gaddafi publicly pushed for a Pan-African gold-backed currency that he would trade for Libya's oil. He was killed during a US-backed revolution in 2011. And just a few short years before, Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein advocated selling oil for euros.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq.
The U.S. invaded under the guise of looking for WMDs.
Iraq did not have any weapons of mass destruction, and interestingly enough, after the Americans invaded, took over, put in their own government, the whole concept of selling oil in euros never surfaced again.
Today, many countries resent the current petrodollar system, and their leading spokesperson is none other than Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Americans should be very worried about what Putin can do. There is a new Cold War going on. It is the colder war. That is exactly what's going on. And who's in the center of this push? Vladimir Putin. And the petrodollar is so crucial to the colder war. The only thing holding America right now at the top is the petrodollar. And let me make it very clear. If the petrodollar dies, so does America as a superpower.
That is what I believe this has always been about. That's why I believe you heard Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman, say that the U.S. has been working on digital currencies for decades, I believe he said. That's what we're talking about, folks. Now, and then we had this. If you ever wondered if the people in power are watching and seeing the things that are said on Twitter about digital currencies, they are watching. Chris Giancarlo retweeted XRP Crypto Wolf's tweet. Public-private partnerships used for Apollo landing, building the internet, and now France CBDC is the right way to explore. And this is a tweet. France's central bank governor said that a public-private partnership would be the best way to issue a central bank digital currency. Appropriate synergies between the private and public sector could lead to build a better CBDC being put into circulation one day. And then Cryptopolis sent this out. Blockchain voting system, verifiable, trustless, immutable. I know some political parties that would hate to have this kind of a system in place. No more no more cheating in elections once this is all on the blockchain. You can kiss goodbye to stealing an election, that's for sure. Okay. Ripple tweeted this. Now, I tell you all the time, anytime I see Ripple tweet something out, if you scratch and you look a little beneath the surface, you never know what you might find. And that's the case with this lady, Adrienne Harris. I'm assuming I'm saying her name right. Adrienne Harris. She is professor of practice, Ford School of Public Policy at the University of Michigan. Ripple tweeted out, fintech businesses are hungry for clarity. Learn how transparent regulation can provide that clarity. Now, if you look at this article, she is, I guess University of Michigan is a part of the University Blockchain Initiative. It says here she's a professor of practice at the University of Michigan with the help of Ripple's University Blockchain Research Initiative. So she's involved in that. She says, we've got business school people, policy school people, engineering school people, all engaged in different projects related to Uber, she notes. It is really important from the standpoint of both education and real world problem solving to have those different lenses come to bear on hard problems. And so I decided I would look a little deeper and find out who she could be. First, I started with her LinkedIn page. Fintech, financial services investor and advisor, former special assistant to President Obama. So she was an assistant to President Obama. So I went to her website, listened to this. Tell me what this sounds like to you. Adrienne was a special assistant to President Obama for economic policy at the National Economic Council in the Obama White House, where her portfolio included financial reform, financial technology, cybersecurity, consumer protection, and housing finance reform. At the White House, Adrienne spearheaded the development of the administration's fintech strategy, chairing both the Interagency Fintech Working Group and the administration's Distributed Ledger Technology Task Force. She came to the White House from the U.S. Department of Treasury, where she served as a senior advisor to the Deputy Secretary. Let me read this one part to you because I didn't know they had one. The Obama administration had a Distributed Ledger Technology Task Force. Now, that is something I did not know, or if I knew it, I forgot and don't remember seeing it. So the Obama administration had a Distributed Ledger Technology Task Force. Wonder why they would have that. And who's been using those terms longer than anybody in this space? What company? It could be Ripple. All right. And this is her. Just if you want to see her speaking for a second, I'll show you this. I'm not showing you any important clip here. I just wanted to let you see her speak for a second.
The decisions at the same time.
Really smart lady.
The second challenge with this, which is related to privacy, but more generally, is just regulation. In this country in particular, our regulatory system is incredibly fragmented. With 8 to 10 federal financial regulators on the federal level, depending on how you count, and 50 state banking regulators, 50 state insurance regulators, things can get tricky. So when you're trying to combine your investment accounts and your...
All right, I just wanted to show you that clip. Now, I decided I would go type in her name, Adrienne Harris, and Ripple and PDF just to see what would come up. And here's the most interesting thing that came up. World Economic Forum, the future of financial infrastructure, an ambitious look at how blockchain can reshape financial services. This is when she was with the Obama administration, I guess, in August of 2016. Let's see if we can see any names that we might recognize in this document. It says, here we're going forward. Let me get to the people part. First thing you need to see is that her name is right here. Okay. She is on she's Council of Economic Advisors. Okay. Now let's go down this list and see if we recognize any other company names. You'll see all kinds of company names that you recognize here. You'll see that Circle was represented there. NASDAQ is represented. Let me see any of the good names. Swift is there. And then let's keep on going. Digital Asset Holdings is there. As we go down, let's see more for somebody else from Swift. Oh, there's R3, and it was called R3 Sev when it first came out. I don't know what that meant. But here's Chris Larson from Ripple. He's there, or contributed to this paper. And then as you go down, there's Todd McDonald from R3. As you keep going down, there's Dilip Rao from Ripple. There is, does it all seem connected to you, or is it just me, folks? There's Marcus Treacher from Ripple. There's people from Swift. There's people from pretty much every bank you can name. And they all contributed to this. Now let's go along and see if there was anything else interesting in this report. I think there's one or two things you might find interesting. Here's the first. This analysis was based on over 12 months of research, engaging industry leaders and subject matter experts through interviews and multi-stakeholder workshops, received guidance from thought leaders across the global financial institutions. BlackRock, we know that name. DTCC, we know that name. JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Barclays, Lloyds Bank, UBS, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, HSBC. Are you recognizing any of these names? How about Stellar? How about Ripple? How about Hyperledger? Digital Currency Group, Coinbase, and then the engaged leaders in academia, government, and regulation. These were all involved in this. United States Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, Reserve Bank of Australia, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, Bank of Canada, the White House, MIT Media Lab, European Central Bank. Does my son need to draw you a picture, folks? I'm not done yet. There's one other thing I wanted to just show you because remember, let's go back before I show you. Let's go back. This is called The Future of Financial Infrastructure, an ambitious look at how blockchain can reshape financial services. And this is done in 2016, folks. So now let's go down to the last thing I wanted to show you. Since we're all so crazy and we're all so conspiratorial, and everything that we say on our channels is just so crazy and can way out there and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Distributed ledger technology is not a panacea. Instead, it should be viewed as many technologies that will form the foundation of next generation financial services infrastructure. Over the last 50 years, technology innovation has been fundamental to financial services industry transformation. Today, multiple technologies poised to drive the next wave of financial services innovation are converging in maturity. They include these: biometrics, cloud computing, cognitive computing, distributed ledger technology, machine learning, predictive analysis, analytics, and quantum computing and robotics. I will say that again: quantum computing and robotics. And what they say here is that today, multiple technologies poised to drive the next wave of financial services innovation are converging on maturity. 2010s emerging technologies. It says multiple technologies poised to drive the next wave. Then they put them all in a box right here. Quantum computing is one of the things in the box with distributed ledger. Now, as I've told you before, I'm no expert on quantum computing or when that's possible, if it's possible. I think the if is not in question, but everybody says, oh, that's way, 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 way out into the future. And trust me, I know this. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't know what the government is working on. You don't. Nobody does except the government, and the stuff's top secret. Like I always use the example of those Patriot missiles I saw shooting Scud missiles out of the sky when I was in high school, all of a sudden on CNN. I had no idea that the United States could do anything like that, and all of a sudden they could. These people have been planning all of this right here for a very long time, and this just happened to pop up when I was putting this video together today. So take it for what you will. By the way, Ledger Nano S, they're still doing this. It was from the 7th until the 21st. You're going to be able to get 20% off. Go in the description of all my videos, and you can find a link to get the 20% off. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that quantum computing seems to be one of the things that the World Economic Forum says is one of these emerging technologies that is going to be a part of this next generation financial services infrastructure. Thank you for listening.
Every day, billions of people around the world are mocked, ridiculed, laughed at, and embarrassed by their friends, family, and even strangers. These people go through their days knowing there are secrets being kept from them. They hear the faint whispers behind closed doors. The information and knowledge is held very close and only shared with others who were fortunate enough to find out. Feeling lost, rejected, and ostracized, these people give up, never finding out what digital assets the digital asset investor holds. But there is hope. Join the free Digital Asset Investor email newsletter and find out what digital assets he owns each month, including investments he's considering. Click the link in the description of this video or go to digitalassetinvestornewsletter.com. Put an end to your days of gloom and depression. Join the greatest free digital asset email newsletter ever created.